Welcome to Rice TVX and the newest episode of the Rice Crypto Show. Today I am joined by Sam Price, aka Crypto Lifer. I'm going to learn a little bit more about him, his channel, and we're going to dive into the charts, some technical analysis. Give me a 5x5 if you can hear me, and we are going to get started in moments. And before we begin today's live stream, and I apologize for the late start, we had some technical difficulties, but we are here. We made it. A few quick messages from the sponsors of Rice TVX. Shout out to Presearch. Make sure you guys are checking out Presearch, a decentralized search engine. They had just added AI capability that's going to be available very soon publicly, but they've got some private testing going on. If you are media, hit up Presearch and get access to the search options with AI. And also, we have Monarch Wallet. And I always have information in every video description for the sponsors. Before we get into it, take time to visit my website at ricetvx.com. There you can sign up for my mailing list so you can stay up to date on all things Rice. Once you've signed up for my mailing list, you will find links for my channels and socials towards the top of the website. Make sure you are subscribed to both of my YouTube channels, Rice Against the Grain and Rice TVX. If you want to support my work directly, as well as get early access, exclusive content for both channels, plus more, join my Patreon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in for today's live stream, today's episode of the Rice Crypto Show. Make sure you smash those like buttons because it definitely helps people to find these videos and it helps bring attention to the channel. And the channel definitely needs as much help as it can get because it is extremely shadow banned and has been for several years. Now, today I am joined by Sam Price. Some of you might know him as Crypto Lifer. And I met him a couple years ago when Around the Blockchain, when it was originally featured on BitBoy Crypto's YouTube channel, he and I, along with Crypto Factor, Paul D, and Crypto Stash, were pretty much regulars on Fridays for a long time. So I'm glad to get my friend on the show, finally. Mr. Sam Price, what is going on, my friend?
Thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it. How's your day going? How you been? How's everything going?
All is well, man. Definitely looking forward to the conversation because I think that we're at an interesting time point when it comes to price action, where we are right now and kind of like what's ahead. So I'm looking forward to diving into that. But, every time I end up doing videos with you, it's really just kind of us on other shows. We haven't done anything together. So I really don't know much about you. Do you mind, in your words, kind of giving a little background as to who Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer, is, and then also how and when you got in crypto?
All right. So, long story, but no. I was born in Boston. My mom was a school teacher. My dad was an iron worker. And he was a connector. I talk about this because he connected the beam from a crane and put a dummy bolt in, and then a bolt-up crew would come up. He risked his life. He was hundreds of feet in the air. And that kind of started how I looked at life. When your dad's an iron worker and you leave a shirt in the ground when you're 3 years old, to him, that's a big deal. Like everything was like, he could get killed when he made a mistake. So he made little things important to me. He always said, like, take care of your blinkers on your car. You get pulled over because of one little thing and then it leads to something else. Right. So my dad was always, so my upbringing was hardworking Irish class. I'm basically 132nd English and 30. I'm basically, my last name is English Price, but I'm basically all English, all Irish with a little bit of English. I grew up in Boston, and I always I remember my mom said, I named you after Mark Twain, and that made me go after him and read his stories. And then I never let my schooling interfere with my education. At a young age, I just felt like I was being lied to a lot. Like at a young age, I already felt like there was something behind the something. There was some truth, you know. By the age of 9, 10 years old, like I even like certain, you know, I began not to trust certain teachers, certain situations. And I was also a positive kid. I could see when people were negative or nasty, and I didn't want to be around it, you know, and I identified light and love at a very young age. And it's kind of like where I wanted to live. Right. And, but as I got older, I wanted to become a rapper and into the film industry. That was my whole thing. So I started writing music. Seamus Ryan, an Irish rapper out of Boston named Esoteric, got, you know, somewhat big. He didn't get huge, but he got big in the independent scene. I got big into KRS-One. He came one day and did a show with them at the Beacon Theater here in Boston. It blew my mind. I liked rap because rap was the truth. You know, again, they were speaking truth to power. A lot of rap songs spoke truth to power. They said things that most people wouldn't say in a regular song, but they said it in rap music. So to me, it was about spreading the truth, not cookie coding things, letting people know exactly what it was. I think that's what really got me into the music at the very beginning. And then as I grew, I got into the arts. I went to film school. I wanted to become a filmmaker. I saw a few Brad Pitt films. I had the blonde hair, you know, I was like, oh, I could be an actor, you know? So my dream was to become like an actor and a rapper. Like,
you had blonde hair?
Yeah, I mean, my hair is blonde. It's dirty blonde. I guess you can't see in the camera might be up, but I do have blonde hair.
Okay, maybe. I mean, mine technically, I used to consider it to be that when I was younger, because it was just kind of a medium brown. But son, yeah, but I would not have pictured you as a blonde, Sam.
You know, I have blonde hair, man. Like everyone that knows me knows I'm blonde.
Oh, okay. The lighting is not.
It's just I'm in like a darker spot or whatever. Anyway,
yeah,
cool. Yeah, it's dirty blonde. Right. But I don't have brown hair. That's a guarantee.
Okay, blonde. You can keep going. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
That's all good. Like if you look at my license, it says blonde. If you look at it, all my stuff. So anyway, so I was like, all right, I'll be an actor. Right. That's when it was my kind of dream. But you know, I dealt with depression. I bring it up a lot whenever I bring up my life story, because I dealt with depression. Like I dealt with negative voices saying you can't do that. And I listened to them. And I even, you know, I had substance abuse issues in my life. And you know, I would isolate and find and I went through some emotional pains through my 20s, but I always believed that I was going to come out of it. And I always believed that something good would happen. And I always believed that there was something bigger beyond me. I eventually ventured into, you know, I was watching YouTube. I loved YouTube. I went to it for my information, for my truth. I got into near-death experiences, aliens, UFOs, deep underground bases, a lot of things I've heard you talk about, like, and the woo-woo says crypto blood. And I just went on a journey into the meta, into the unknown, into information that made me uncomfortable, like that broke my paradigm of where I thought the world was, like shattered my belief system. I like to shatter my belief system. I wanted to destroy the cookie cutter life that I thought I lived in and venture. And I knew that that's where you progress, right? When you put yourself in uncomfortability. So I kind of understood that. I went into that nature. And I'm watching Peter Schiff, and he's telling us the housing crisis is going to come. And I'm like, and people are laughing at him. It happened.
What time frame are we talking about?
08, 07.
Okay, I mean, that's what I was thinking, but I just want to make sure I was
07,
placing
08.
us in time.
And I'm 24 years old, right? I buy a few first stocks there. Don't really know what I'm doing, you know. But I start buying gold and silver bars. I start researching. Then I get to Mike Maloney. I start researching the financial system. I realize we live in a Ponzi scheme, like hands down, like. You know, and then I researched all the currencies throughout history, the florin, the Roman coin. And then I went to the fiat currency graveyard. And I realized that, I was like, oh my God, these things are only supposed to last like maybe 300 years. Like that's a long time for a currency. Yeah. And then I made this cool analogy, the current, right? You throw a leaf in the current, it blows away. It's called currency because you can see the currency. It keeps going with the currency. So like I made, you know, again, my rap metaphor kind of in how I look at language. But so I was like, you know, currency, huh?
Yeah, you know, and then we should have another conversation, or even privately, I'll talk with you more about like when you look at language and the water base of language, which is really interesting, especially when it comes to finances. Like a lot of financial language is water based.
Total liquidity. Yeah.
A lot of it though. Like when you really dig into all the different terminologies, it's really strange. And it's kind of goes into some of the law stuff that I
brings me into admiralty law, right? And how they first your birth and the birth ship. Man, I did all the Jordan. Yeah.
So you're a Jordan Maxwell fan as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
okay, you know, cool. I know, and we did shows together. And I didn't know this about you, man.
I went into every deep hole. Maybe I haven't covered everything. I'm not gonna say I'm a know-it-all, but man, I had a night shift for 6 years during the
You're a
day.
rabbit hole explorer.
Yeah, I was alone in my apartment, and then I worked a night shift alone. So for 6 years, I spent almost like when I wasn't with my wife or kids, and I would go see friends, but most people would be at work. I had 30 computers, and I was a computer dude, and I was just, so I buy the gold and silver. I eventually amassed 40 grand of it. I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment. I realized that I don't trust the banking system. I don't trust the security boxes. But then I don't even trust the idea you could buy a vault and they have it there. I'm like, will I ever see it? If there's an earthquake, will they really ever give it to me? Like, and I just didn't believe in that whole, like, someone's going to hold my gold for me. Right. And thank God at that point I find Bitcoin. And I'm like, what do you mean? It was $500 and I start researching it. And I'm like, you can memorize 24 words and put $10 million in your brain and no one will know you have it. Like, you're the only one that knows, as long as, you know what I mean? You don't even have to have a hardware wallet. Like, you can throw that in the trash and then just, right. People don't realize you can have a treasure, you could lose it, and you could buy a new one the next day and then just say restore from seed phrase. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like someone can steal your treasure or whatever. They steal your seed phrase, you're done. You can have your treasure in your hand and they can take everything in it if they have.
Yeah. So don't put your seed phrase and your treasure in the same place.
No, they got to be separate. Yeah. So if they get one, they don't get the other.
So what year was this roughly $500 Bitcoin that you started discovering?
I didn't buy it then either. Yeah. So we're talking 2016. I see a guy in the street. I'm selling drones. I had a drone channel, another YouTube channel called Remote Chief, and I sold drones and flew drones. And I got to like 2,500 subscribers. It was growing a little bit. And this guy walks by, and I think he had a Bitcoin and Ethereum shirt on. And I'm like, what is that? And he's like, oh, I was one of the coders who made Ethereum. There was like 200 of us. He's like, you should buy it. It's $9. And he showed me Coin Market Cap. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what he was talking about. And he was like, these are these tokens. And he's like, but trust me, once you get in, he's like, I was in the bathroom while I was at a date with this girl. He's like, just looking at the coin. Like, he's like, it's going to take over your life if you get in. And man, he kind of warned me, and now I'm the crypto lifer. It's kind of funny, right? So it's funny, right? Like,
isn't it ironic?
Yeah, it's pretty weird when you think I didn't really like it. It just came full circle in this conversation. So that's like how I got it. And then I knew about Ethereum at $9. I bought it at 89. I kicked myself when it 10x'd and felt I was late to the party. And then I got into Litecoin at $5, Cardano at 2 cents, Bitcoin around like $1,500 and $1,700.
So early 2017.
Well, I started trading in 2016, like Vertcoin. I was on Bittrex trading Vertcoin, Potcoin.
Shout out to old school Bittrex, man. That was a fucking good exchange.
Remember that? Remember freaking, yeah. I had fun, man. Until I got kicked out because I was in New York.
It's still around
it's still out now. I could reopen a new account.
Yeah, it's Poloniex that got bought by what?
I think it'll open it up at Bittrex the other day. I was like, hey, I want to see what everyone. It's BitTrex, right? But everyone, I don't know. It's like Bittrex. I was like, whatever.
Is it BitTrex?
I think they want you to say BitTrex, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the idea, but it never worked. Like, no one did it. Like, nobody did it. Like, you know.
So you were already kind of an entrepreneur, kind of already doing the YouTube thing, did video stuff. What made you ultimately decide to start a channel? And did you do any trading prior to crypto?
Oh yeah. So
okay,
cool. A really good winded story there. So I'm in media my whole life. Number one, I went to
hey, real quick. I want to let everybody know this is like in case we got some of your crew. I'm sure they're cool with like this, but I like to get to know my guests. Especially the people who haven't been on the show before. We are going to get to charge in TA, but if that's all you came here for, come back.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, that I appreciate that too. Because everyone comes for their niche, but it's like, dude, we're humans. You know, we want to show you humans.
Yeah, I do interviews. I don't just cover price action. I mean, depending on how long this part goes, I may clip out just the TA part, just so people can get to the gist of it. I understand what people want, but I don't always give I give people what they need, not what they want.
I'm 100% understand that.
So I just want to let everybody know I apologize, but I'll let you go ahead and finish, and I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No worries. Anytime. It's a great point. Yeah. So now I was in the business of TV and film. Now I already told you I wanted to be a rapper, and I wanted to be in front of the camera at a young age. I really did. I had this desire to do it, and I kind of didn't do it. Like, I shied away from auditions, and I ended up behind the camera. I did have a brain for it though. Like, I was really good at being a director of photography, like I found I was as good in front of the camera as I was behind the camera. And I took more and more jobs behind the scenes. I started editing. I got into the business. I got into, I was working for David Letterman when I left the TV industry on making a show for Netflix called My Next Guest Needs No Introduction. I became what's called an assistant editor in the Motion Pictures Editors Guild. I was in the union. Life was going okay for me, but I was sitting 10 hours a day in a room and not going anywhere. So, and then YouTube became the new TV in a way. So like I was working in television for 10 years. I saw all these people start their own channels and their own things in the early 2000s. And almost this is what I want to say to everyone out there. Every single person I saw that stayed with what they were doing became a millionaire. Like I saw MGK make his first video ever on YouTube. I watched Mac Miller make one of his first videos ever when no one knew who he was. I watched Asher Roth. I watched so many countless people pick something they loved, start a channel, and just go and go. And I kept asking myself with my rap music, like why I wasn't. But I was in this. I go back to, I had broken chakras. I go back to this. I had subconscious mind blocks. There was a voice in me that was being affected and I didn't know it. And I thought I was in control of my reality, but I really wasn't. And so I teach people too on my weekly screen shares about how to reprogram the subconscious mind. And through, you can play positive affirmation videos at night. I'm not afraid of money. Money is my friend. I would see a Mercedes go by and a little voice would go by. You're never going to drive that. That's literally what happened to me. I had this.
Do you watch Joe Dispenza?
I got into Joe, man, and he changed.
I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, but a few people I've heard what you're saying sounds like some things that some friends have told me, and one of those is Travis Wright from Bad Crypto.
I don't know him, but I know Joe Dispenza for sure, and Joe changed my life. So I knew I wanted to be in front of the camera. I knew I had this gift of connecting. You put me in a room, in a party, I would meet 20 people when most people would meet 5. I had a really good social way about me. I'd love to connect. And I knew that was my kind of goal and my gift and my destiny, like to use that. Like that was, but when you're young, you don't know that's your gift yet. Like I knew I had this certain gift, but I was like, and I didn't fit in at work. I didn't fit in the regular 9 to 5. And I kept trying to force myself into that same, cookie cutter way of life. And it just didn't work for me. It caused depression. I was never able to fully express who I was at work. All the wacky things I do on my live stream every day, I get to be me. I love the fact that I get to be me on my YouTube channel. So honestly, and then when it comes to the YouTube channel, so I started a YouTube channel, Remote Chief. I lost a bunch of footage when I had to go to the RNC and the DNC because I was working for a company. And I'd never seen an experience like that. Cops from all around they had state troopers from every state, like in Ohio and Cleveland. And it was like, I took epic pictures. People were throwing stuff, it was getting like real tense between the police. And I had all this awesome footage and I lost it somehow. Like the car and it sent me into like a depression. Like I used to use negative experiences to just go further down into a hole. And like that YouTube channel died with that, a month went by, 2 months went by. And then like, once you let a YouTube channel go like a couple, 4 or 5 months, it kind of like, it's like building a house that you got so far up and having to build it right back from the ground again. And it was like, that was a blow to me. It was a blow.
Pretty frustrating. I have to deal with that a lot. I actually, since I've the controversial rabbit hole content that I was doing, I moved to another channel, started the channel Rice Against the Grain. So if people like the woo-woo stuff, check out Rice Against the Grain. Yeah. And I took out all the videos because I had 3 shows on this channel. It was the Rice Crypto Show, Rice Report, and Stranger Than Fiction. So it was the Stranger Than Fiction content that I moved over. So I removed because I was getting strikes on videos that were 2-3 years old. And it was like I was on the verge of losing the channel. And this is like my only form of income right now to be able to survive. And with that being said, it really sucks, man, when you got to be dealing, because at this point I had to deleted all my Stranger Than Fiction content, which was more than 1 million views. And I'm under 1 million views on my channel now. So it's like I've had to literally start over basically because of all this shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to kind of relate that to what you were saying.
No, my channel got deleted like 2 years ago when I got $800. The first week I could get super chats after my 10,000 hours of working my butt off for 2 years for free. I finally get to turn on super chats and I make $800 one night. And next thing
you wake up to one of these things.
Yeah, dude, I see that and I get PTSD. Like I literally was getting sick because like
it happened to me a couple times, man.
And I was like, my life was like, and I got honestly, it brought me closer to God. I got on my hands and knees. I prayed and I said, if this is your will to watch me build this for 2 years and then have to go to like some other site and build it again, it's only going to make me stronger. I accept it. And before I'd be like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you making this happen to me? And now I change it to, why are you doing this for me? I go to Ed Millett people say, why did this happen to me? They break their leg. Why did this happen to me? But when they break their leg, they may find crypto because they're in a bed. And so it's like, what happened for me? Like bad things could be good things. We have to use everything in our life as a positive, no matter what happens. And like, that's what my channel taught me. I went through an emotional, spiritual, and just, on a maturity level too. I just changed as a person when my channel got deleted, because I was like, but I prayed that night for almost 2 hours straight. I sat in deep meditation of prayer. And I said, God, this is what I want with my life. And honestly, that night when it got taken away, that's when I knew I wanted to do crypto like I always was doing it full time, but that's when I knew I was going to take my channel to and I started streaming every day that day. And I have never taken a day off since February of 2021. I have not taken one day off, not one.
What day in February?
I don't know. We try to figure it out somewhere on the 20th or the 21st. I've asked people to go through and click through, but digitally, someone can verify that since February 21st of 2021, I have live streamed every day and I've never stopped once.
Well, congratulations, man, because I'll tell you, the burnout gets real. And it sounds like a lot of the shit that you dealt with, it would be easy for somebody to get burnt out. So,
I think I went through so much in my
awesome.
life before this that this stuff is as hard as it gets. I've been through I did a night shift for 6 years. I used to come home at 3 a.m. You want to talk about burnout? I'd get in at 10 sometimes and leave at 4 a.m. I'd be on my Harley Davidson, delirious, riding home on the BQE. I'd make a lot of money from the overtime. I was union, but it started to take a toll on my life, man. And
yeah, you're working your ass off.
I also had bosses that treated me horribly. I didn't know where I was going to end up in life. I wanted to become a multimillionaire and change my life and change other people's lives. I didn't see how that was going to happen. I was getting very depressed that my destiny wasn't on its way, that I felt was starting when I was 9. I had this vision and I had lost it in my 20s. And so I feel I was behind my destiny, but some things, they happened at the right time. You know what I mean? And then when it comes to trading, I joined a trading group because I didn't understand Bitcoin halving. I didn't really get what was going on there. When it came up, I thought I was in an asset like the stock market, and I joined a trading group. I eventually just helped all the beginners in the group. They had a room called the beginners room. And once you learn something, you could help the beginners. And I found out that my destiny was to help others. I know it's everyone says that, but yeah, but you get paid and you do your stuff. And it's but I have to actually charge at one point for what I do, because otherwise people won't take it seriously. The market value makes people actually take it seriously. Whether you need the money or not, there has to be a value to what you provide, But I truly started helping people in this beginners group. I'm at work in my free time, and I knew the MACD and someone's using it wrong. I'm listen, wait for this line to come here. Or they didn't set support and resistance, and they asked why the trade didn't go well. And I'm well, you bought at resistance, man. Put these lines in. And I would spend 2 to 3 hours with the person, or an hour, and I would talk to them. And a lot of times they were getting barked at, and they said, wow, you're really nice to me. You took the time out. And they would write a nice letter to me, and I would get an endorphin rush. And so instead of getting endorphins from going to Instagram and all these other places, I started getting this high every time I got a message from someone that said, hey, thank you for showing me this. Thank you for taking time out of your day. And I would shed a tear sometimes. I'm a softie, and I'd be yo, that's cool. And I got addicted to that emotional adrenaline of helping someone, and getting the feedback that what I did helped them. And I kept doing it, and I kept doing it. And then finally I asked the guy in the group, is there anything I could do to get paid? And he said, I don't pay anyone, but you could tutor for an hourly rate. You figure out whatever rates for you, and you have my blessings to message people, or if they need help, you can say, hey, I tutor. And I never thought I would be a tutor. I never even planned on it. My mentor gave it to me. So I cry when I talk about my story, because I never planned it. I never wrote it down. I never said, this is I'm going to start a channel, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to run a trading group. I never did any of that. And all the businesses in my life that I tried, I wrote them down, have a plan, and they all fell through. They never happened. This one went far beyond my wildest dreams. And I didn't write it down. I just did what I wanted to do with my heart. I just followed my heart and did exactly what I just was I'm going to follow my passion. This is making me feel good. I'm going to keep doing what makes me feel good. And it seems to be helping other people. And then I started tutoring. And then even my mentor, again, one night in the summer, he goes, how's your channel? And I'm I could never be consistent like you. You make a video every day for the last 3 years. I was I like to say
I'm going to pause you real quick, Doug, because what you just said, man, is really powerful, and I really appreciate you actually opening up and taking the time to share that. And when you really are doing something that you truly care about and that you enjoy, it isn't work, and it becomes something completely different. So I can relate, man, but I wanted to take a moment before we you continue to, talking about what you were talking about, to just highlight that, man, because that's very powerful. And again, I thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. No, I look up to you, Rice. I do. I consider everyone a mentor in a way. Like, you can learn from everybody in your life, young or old. But even you, I've been on with you enough times to know that I can learn from you. I appreciate that.
Likewise, though. And I'm glad that we did this. I know that I'm going to be coming on your channel. Shout out to all the lifer crew that's in the house watching. What is this 333 thing? I mean, that's coming off your fam.
Okay. So like I told you, I was deep into the woo-woo, right? So I
know kind of what a 333 is. I'm just wondering where this connects with you and your community.
It just, whenever I'm on the right path, the numbers starts to show up a lot. You know what I mean? And I show it all the time. Like, I'll get 333 likes. Like I'll put out a post and it'll be 333 minutes long. And
it's
lately,
angelic, right? It's supposed to be angelic.
I'm never I've dabbled a little bit on some of it, but I just, I got into Freemasonry and all that stuff and the 33 degree, and I started seeing the number a lot. And then I decided, are we in a simulation? Do we make ourselves see the number? But like, even if you're with me, if you're around me for more than a month, like, I'm going to go buy something at a store, then my daughter's going to ask if she can get a pink pen. And I'm going to say, yeah, throw the pen in. And the guy's going to make $33. Like, it happens all the time. Like, it's just weird. It's to the point where I just know it's going to happen now. Like, I expect it. And it's like, yep, and sometimes I wonder if I know this is an insane thought, but like, I wonder, did I go into like a place like Vanilla Sky, like the movie? And I say, hey, I want to like be put down for like 2 hours, but they make you live a life and it feels like an entire life.
You could have been Cypher in the Matrix and just chose to go back into Matrix.
So yeah, so they see the
give me that good life.
I see the 333, so they like, it's kind of our code, right? 333.
That's cool.
And lately the 777s have been coming out. Like, I don't want to see them. Like yesterday, 2,770 people, like 770 likes. My wife got us an Airbnb. The apartment was 777. Like, then I went somewhere else. It's just like, it's just weird. Like, it's starting to be like, or I go to my account the other day, 2 of my accounts both ended at 77. What are the odds? Like an hour later, they were both, one was at 24. One was at it was like almost impossible. Like, I looked at the math. And so I believe there's spirit guides following us. I don't know what it is. There's something going on. There's something going on with the numbers.
I know you're busting your ass doing, your channel, putting out videos every day since February of 21.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be cool for you to maybe start another channel where you can talk about some of these other things. I mean, I'm sure that you incorporate it in the conversation, but I look at your channel as being more of like very crypto, very technical analysis, very chart based.
No, it's sad. I became like a freak, kind of, right? Like, people, because I'm really good at, I'd spent so much time in it that I have that gift of the charts now, and I'm almost like a bot. Like, people come to me and I'm lately trying to show them like parts of my personality and seeing how much of my personality and how much of my TA can I blend in. But yeah, I mean, I would love to do, we talk about all the time with my team, like, they want to rebrand Sam Price and like take Sam Price and brand
the Price is Right. Somebody was commenting Price and Rice. I saw that you had the Price report. Now I was like, I saw that right after I said Rice report, which I asked Max Kaiser if he was cool if I used it, because I was a fan of Max. He's been on the show a couple times. So, yeah, do you want to, we're going to have to do this more. And I mean, if you ever want to come on for like conversations that's non-crypto on my other channel, man, we could talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always nervous too, because I get freaked out. Like, I get labeled, and then like, whenever just
be who you are. Because I mean, at this point, I
don't live in fear.
I try to fight against shit, and it just be who you are, man. Just be who you are. I try not to make things very gimmicky. I've got to, obviously branding and things like that to be catchy is helpful and important, but keep it real. That's what I try to do as much as possible, and just keep it authentic. That's what I would say. So,
well, that's what got me here. So, what I mean? Like, I didn't do anything different. Like, what's funny is people see the suit and the voice and stuff, and they're like, they don't realize, like, if you meet me, like, that's my voice. Like, I have kind of a voice. Like, it's just like, you'll be like, oh, that's the way he talks. Like, I mean, I'd put it on when I'm live streaming, of course, like, hey, welcome to the crypto show, right? It's like, we're entertainers, but it's funny. And some people ask, why you wear the suit? Like, why do you dress up? And I said, well, sit in your house for the last 3 years and wear a t-shirt every day. For me, it got boring. Like, I'm a like kind of creative guy. Like, So this, like today, I looked at all the different colors I could wear, and I could be like, I can match gray with red and blue, and like that's fun for me. It's kind of part of my artistry. Like I can, it's like painting a picture in the morning with some colors. Do I want to be blue, red, green? And then as I got addicted to it, I bought more pocket squares, more shirts, right, and just kind of like mixed and matched and took it to another level. So it's like,
it looks nice, man. And I mean, if you're working from home too, I mean, it's real easy. Like I'm in sweatpants now, but generally I'm in like pajama pants, things like that. So it's like I'm dressed up nice from the waist up sometimes. But I have been thinking about like dressing normally because I'm getting tired of feeling like a bum in my own house. So
it's funny. My buddy's a real estate agent, right? And like I charge for one-on-ones. I do, I do a bunch of different things. And he said, he was just here in my house because we shot some footage for him. We help him edit stuff. And he's like, do you dress the part that you charge? That's what he said to me. You know what I mean? Like as a professor or maybe a tutor. And like, again, like, there's like a sense of respect too. I care so much about the channel and about everyone's attention and time that I want to show up and just put that much more effort into how I show up. Right. And like his mom said to him too, is you can never be overdressed. Like people can say whatever they want, but you can never be overdressed. Like you can be underdressed.
Oh, you can. I mean, you could take things off. Yeah. Cause I mean, if I put you in a desert with the way you're dressed now, you're not
you're
super comfortable.
I'm just saying like in general, socially, like it could be somewhat awkward, but you can always be like, you could, if you had a 3-piece, if you put a pocket square on, or if you put in a pocket watch, like I've been watching film my whole life. I'm like an actor in a way. To me, my whole life is like a movie. This is a costume. Like, I want to live life in a creative way. You know what I mean?
We're also living art too, man. And the way you dress can be a way to express yourself as well.
Totally. 100%. 100%.
Do you mind jumping into some charts?
No, not at all. Not at all. Let's take a look. Let's see what's going on.
We got to get this share on your end pulled up, and I'll get it pulled up on screen.
I made a weird mistake. I lost the video. I lost the studio room, which was weird. Like, I don't know how I lost it. And like, I got into StreamYards, right? But I lost like the room. Like it says enter studio now. And I'm afraid if I enter the studio, I'm going to like mess up.
Well, okay. So you shouldn't have that. Can you go back to the screen of where you're at with where we're at now? Can you see the regular screen to go down to like where it says?
No, like right when it began, I lost it, and I didn't want to upset. Like, and I was trying to find.
If something happens and
I found it. Sorry.
I was gonna say, if you pop out, you can just pop right back in. It's live. Shit happens, and it's all good.
Okay, cool. Here, yeah, I got it now.
Look, you did it, man.
Yes. Teamwork
makes the dream work. I want to make this full screen too, just so everybody can see it.
So to me, we're at like, there's a bunch of things going on. Everyone know, not everyone, but you have a swing up to swing up, you have a swing down to swing down. That's a bearish divergence. And it's on the daily time frame, which that's substantial. When you have a bearish divergence that big on the daily, it's pretty big. We haven't seen a daily divergence that big. That one was kind of one, that swing up to swing up, and that was flatter. This one was one here, and we took a nice dump down. Now, I've been dabbling with this trend line though. So I like this trend line right now, and I'm bullish until we lose this trend line. All right. Now, this little scribble here is the smaller time frame. If we just look at like what I'm looking at right now on the 15, we just got a short squeeze on Bookmap. Nice short squeeze, 163,000 and 58 accounts just got absolutely liquidated. I'd like to close above 23.5 on the daily. If we do that,
shorts just got liquidated.
Yeah, shorts just got absolutely launched. Yeah, smash.
So we are going upward because a couple people in the chat were talking about it's ripping, and I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, it is ripping. Yeah, it's ripping. I mean, if they're trading the 2-minute, I mean the 5-minute, it's ripping. I mean, that's a big candle on the 15. So today I woke up this morning.
Okay, I can see. I can see it now. I need to start wearing my reading glasses. I'm getting old, Sam.
I have to wear my glasses, man. I use my eyes so much. I usually can go my first stream without it. My second stream, like, dude, my days today. I do a stream, my regular stream. I do a stream with you. I'll do ATB today at 5, and then I also do a private screen share from 6:15 to 8:15 every Thursday night with all the lifers that are in my trading group. So like today's like I'll stream for 6 hours, use my voice, use my eyes. Like when I'm done tonight at 9, I will take this tie off, and I will be exhausted, and I'll still probably have to do a Bitcoin update and look for some.
I want to turn you on to something real quick. this stuff here, and I'll send you a link for it. It's called Vocalese. It's something a lot of singers use.
Interesting.
It's natural throat spray that has ginger, honey, and echinacea, and it's amazing.
I'm down. Sounds like
Amazing.
yeah. I do the honey and the lemon every day and some, but I'll do it. So I thought this would be a right shoulder, and then the 15 was high. And what I wanted the 15-minute to do was come and make this double bottom and break out of this falling wedge. So I project, I trade the stochastic so much that I can kind of like get a sense of probability with them. So this is what I wanted to happen. I wanted the 15-minute to come back up, and then I looked at the 1 hour, and now I want the 1 hour to carry this momentum. And we got the breakout. We want the 1 hour to continue up. For me, though, I'm a very simple guy when it comes to trading. Like, this is our previous highs. If the daily candle can't close in this green box, we're gonna make a bit of an M pattern here, right? And then we know M's like to break to the downside. So we really need to see the daily candle close above 23,009, 24K really in the next day or two, in my humble opinion. I mean, it could go sideways. It just, time is not, you don't have to say time has to be, but it would be more, the more time we spend not getting there, the more the bears are taking advantage and they're getting momentum. So
do you look at the dollar, the DXY?
Every day, constantly.
Because the DXY looks like it might be in a position to start kind of upward action.
Well, this is
your
the
point.
DXY
You're pointing down. That looks like a
See, I've been watching the daily, and your daily's overbought. It was overbought, and we were 2 days ago. We were on the daily. Rising wedges break down 68% of the time.
I want to come back to Bitcoin. I just wanted to ask you about the DXY. Sorry.
No, but it's because it's huge right now. We're actually at a precipice. Let me break this down. We're at a precipice right now. This is a rising wedge. I wanted it to break down, and we originally I had it like this, and it broke out of the wedge, and I couldn't believe it because I wanted this to dump. Then I said this can't break up and go above this yellow line, and it fell back inside the wedge, and that was a great sign. And then I readjusted this trend line. I was like, okay, a resistance. Then we fell down, and right now this to me is looking very bearish retesty, right? And the dollar was pushing down, but now it's kind of like it's trying to make a move on the 1 hour. But if I look at the daily, that daily is the daily's starting to flatten too. So it looked like we were dumping today. Last night this was red and pointing down, and the daily, rising wedge break to the downside. Out of nowhere, we did a U-turn, right? But the 4 hour, so what we want to see here, this is so crucial right now, that tonight and into tomorrow, the 4 hour bearishly retests this and dumps. We really need this 4 hour to curve on us and take this down. If the dollar breaks back inside here, it'll go sideways, and then there's a chance that it can break parabolically out of a rising wedge. ES1 is also in a very, very, very crazy place. Like, today's actually a great day to be on your show. It's like a precipice. This wedge here, right where we're at. See this is the bigger wedge in the S&P. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And that's kind of what happens in a falling, broadening wedge. You can get that type of move. I also had the feeling of a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder, and there's this kind of cup and handle here. We need this falling wedge to break up. I want a candle to close inside this green box. I just put the green boxes because they're like, if we can get a candle close there, it's going to, get us away from some of the bearish tones that we're in. So basically, the dollar will go back up into that pattern, possibly pump. The S&P will dump, and that will take Bitcoin down. I have to say, like, even though
I was going to say it's inverse with DXY and Bitcoin, and even S&P and DXY. So if the DXY is up, the S&P is going to be down. If the DXY is up, Bitcoin is going to be down. If the DXY is down, Bitcoin is going to be up. And
so if the DXY makes
very correlated.
If the DXY makes that bearish retest and dumps, Bitcoin's going to pump up out of this to the upside. And you're probably going to get to this green box. So I'm watching all three very closely up until tonight when I go to bed. This is like really what we're watching,
Now, in your mind, and I like to ask this question of a lot of different people that do charts and TA. When I talk about bottoms, I'm talking about absolute bottom price action in a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like the 15.5, 15.6 area is the bottom, or do you feel like we still have another leg down that go lower? I'm also thinking about, we got roughly 20 days from now, I think, is when the results from the FOMC and what the interest rate hike is going to be. And a lot of people are thinking 50, which may not be good for the markets unless the markets are pricing them in beforehand, which I don't think they are.
Another thing about me is I've made predictions my whole, like I've made some predictions. Like, I get these, like, I don't like to use my feelings and beliefs when I trade. I trade, but I also do get heavy instincts, right? I'll go on publicly right now and tell you that there will not be a 0.5 rate hike. And I'll put I'm almost guaranteeing it. All right. And the reason why is because he's going to, the way they like to do things is they like to look like they know what's going on. So if they switch so fast after things they said now, I think it's going to make them look like complete idiots. So I don't think they can make a U-turn so fast, in my humble opinion, because they want to hold face. So I just feel like they're going to go 2 point. Maybe then they'll talk bearish, and then they'll point us to 0.25.
Well, I mean, my thing is there's recent personal consumption expenditures that show a reacceleration of inflation, and there were different models ran with the Federal Reserve as far as different simulations for monetary policy, and they're really saying that they need to get to 6.5%, which is higher than they were saying before. It's one, and I know at some point they're going to have to reverse course because of what's happening around the world. Because now I think China has reversed course, but China's also been kind of doing sort of the opposite of what other economies are doing too. When people were doing quantitative easing, they were tightening. So now they are doing quantitative easing while technically we're tightening. So it's going to be interesting to watch. I know at some point the Fed's going to have to reverse, but I'm just wondering how. I mean, because this is just a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for them.
I mean, it's funny. I've been trading 15 years, and I consider myself a young trader. You know, when I see a guy 50, 60 years old, he's got like 20 more years of trading on me, right? So it's like, but in the last 7 years, I've gotten very cozy with divergences. And I did call this top publicly right here for Bitcoin. Like I said, that's it. It's good because I knew price would have to come back to the 21-day moving average.
That's the second top, the 69.
Yeah, and it had heavy bearish divergence on the weekly chart. Like I found this and saw it right when it had. I saw it when it was here, and then I was like, guys, like that's bearish divergence, like on the weekly. When you see it on a big time frame like that, so honestly, I don't know where price is going to go. I say that. I listen to Mark Douglas Trading in the Zone, and I really believe it. I don't know where Bitcoin's going to go. I have no clue. I have no idea. I believe in the long term, it's going to go up in value because they're going to print the dollar. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely long-term bullish.
But I'm not going to dance around. I believe, based on my analysis and what I do, that's your bottom because you don't get weekly divergence like ever. Like,
well, what about we had a double top? What about a double bottom coming back down and retesting that area? To me, I got. Because some people are asking, like, are we going to get to 26 before we get to 18? Or are we going to get to 18 before we get to 26? So what, I mean, if you were just to answer that question based off what your analysis, what would you think?
I can give you a black and white answer that will guarantee it. If the 4 hour stays above the 200 SMA, you'll go to 26. If the 4 hour ends up breaking down and like closes 4 to 5 candles below it, I mean, we're highly likely going to break down here. The daily is telling us that that's our lower high in the trend. I personally put in $20,000 between 21 and 23,000. I long this, and I'm not ashamed to say it. And if we go to 12K or 16K, I'm okay with that because I'm holding this for 5 years and I'm not worried about it. But I longed a punch of Bitcoin. I bought a whole Bitcoin at 19,000 live on my channel. I bought a bunch, and I set orders from 7,500 all the way to 17.5, and I caught a bunch from 16, 5, 15, 8. I basically did buy the bottom live on my channel. I showed everyone
Smart.
So I'm in heavily at this point, whether we come down or not. The bearish scenario is that's bearish divergence. Bearish divergence brings you to support, and we've been bouncing off support on the daily now. You have lack of bearish momentum in the MACD. You have falling volume with falling price, which tells me that the sellers you're lacking sellers. Like you see this little chunk here, you're dropping down in the volume. Although
it's declining.
Yeah, that tells me, and I do things real simple when I teach a beginner's course. Every Tuesday from 3 to 5:30, I teach a course. It's the same course. I usually get between 15 and 20 people in it. It's $60 if you're in the trading group, 100 if you're not. And I basically give you 2 hours of everything I know, man. Like I start from what a candle is, time frames, and I end with VR, VP, and divergence, and I give you some risk management ideas. But so this, to me, is a higher low. And you've had 5 daily candles closing above the resistance, that support, which is, that resistance, which is now support. that behooved me to long. The golden cross there after the pump up. And then look, you're about to have the 100 cross the 200. Everyone loves to talk about the 50, but anytime any shorter moving average crosses a longer one, it's a good, it's good,
Well, since you mentioned that, I was going to ask you, what is this? I've been hearing a lot of talk, and I'm not a TA person, but I've been hearing a lot of talk about us being under or at 200 moving average.
Yeah. Check this out.
Watch this. That on every time frame, and what does that mean? Because apparently this hasn't happened before with Bitcoin.
What I love to do is I like to use Tesla and Bitcoin because I want to show people that anything that I teach you, you can use on any single asset in the world. Technical analysis works great on any asset. So look, right here, we got above. This is the 4-hour time frame, and I've back tested this and watched it. It's a really good strategy. The second you get a 4-hour candle to open above the 200 SMA, this red line, the yellow line, you open a long. And what you do is you put a stop loss beneath a support below the 200 SMA. So like here. And look at that. That would have been a monster trade. Had you trailed that stop loss, that would have been a monster trade. Yeah, maybe you got out here. Who knows? But I'm just saying that began the catalyst of a monster trade. Again, had you opened a short the second a 4-hour candle closed below with a stop loss here, you would have been in the money with a trailing stop loss. Now, it doesn't always mean you're going to make a huge trade. And then here, look, had you opened along right when the 4-hour came above, look, Tesla yet again, huge move to the upside, right? And this you can go to any single chart in the world. We'll go to Bitcoin. Once you got above the 4-hour on the 200 SMA and you opened up a long, you bombed. You went up. All you had to do was put a stop below the 200 SMA under some type of support zone and a trailing stop. You would have nailed that trade. Same thing here. Nailed that trade. Same thing here. You would have nailed that trade. This is why last night we went below. When we opened back above in this area here, I opened another long. I'm at a very, very risky point. It's a very aggressive long that I opened. But the thing is, if we stay above this 200 SMA, we're going to shoot up like we're going to shoot up, and you can just go back and see all the times that we've done it. There was a nice move. Doesn't mean you're going to get the huge run, but you're going to get usually for Bitcoin, I'd say a 5 to 7, 10% move. You know what I mean? That one was 7, 8%. This one was, let's see, in total was about 10%, and that one was a smaller one, but every single time I've seen a candle close above. Now I've also seen it can hang out near it. And another thing is I watch progressions of bull markets and how bull markets turn into bear markets. And what you'll see is the space between moving averages will change. So like your first dump, you'll get really far from the 200. Your second dump, you'll get pretty far, but then the other dumps, you're not going to get as far. Each time you dump again, you're never getting that gap as much until eventually they're just tiny little moves underneath. And then eventually it goes really far and it doesn't get below it. So I'm keenly watching this. And you
mentioned bear and bull. Do you consider us to still be in a technical bear market?
Right now, I consider a bear market being underneath the 200 on a weekly chart. So see how we're underneath the 200 SMA right now? That's why we've been getting rejected. I teach students so much about the 200 SMA. Look, I'm going to drop a gem now that I normally would never drop. But look, I have this list of coins. You go to the daily chart, and even though and I'll go back to Bitcoin for a second, but what they do is they love to pump up to the 200 SMA. I do not know why. You'll get tight moving averages, price will pump up to the 200 SMA. Almost every one of these coins has done it. And I got a list of 20 of them, and they're about to do it. Like this one did it. Once the moving averages get close, but the 200 outside, you'll pump right up to it. Opacity did it. They got close. You pumped up right up to the 200. This one's waiting to do it. ABBC, ASD is waiting to do it. This one may never do. I don't know. It's a little. It's just
crazy how things can be so fractal based and like repeating patterns in different tokens.
What's hard as me is I've spent now almost 8 hours a day every day for over 5 years now and I'm almost so deep in the charts that it's hard. It's like I know. It's like if you studied a language and you knew so much about the language, like it's hard to talk to someone unless they've gone as far as I have gone. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I am so like when I see something and like I'm trying to teach a student and I'm like, and also look, the 4 hours just had a golden cross on Tesla, right? And Tesla's in a flag. That looks like Tesla's about to go up, and once Tesla breaks above this zone, boom, right? And what I'm doing is I'm just showing you how I trade every asset exactly the same. Like everyone looks at the asset and gets all personal. I look at the moving averages. Like and they tell me what to do. And it doesn't really matter what the asset is. So I say we're still in a bear market because we're below the 200 SMA on the weekly. We start to get above that and we get a golden cross. And honestly, like the halving, we got to have the halving.
Yeah, because I've been hearing a lot of people saying that we've hit the bottom. So once you've hit the bottom, you're technically out of the bear market, but I don't look at it that way.
No. To me, the bear markets are long. The bear markets are the long bowl of accumulation.
And we seem to be following the 4-year cycle.
Definitely. Which to me, this is what's strange to me. Some of my oscillators and indicators are telling me we're going to get a bigger pump to 30K. But usually when we make a bowl, like we don't get that far away from the bowl. You know what I mean? Like that would be weird. Like it would be a strange, it would be kind of a, they've also printed a lot of money and they've done some different things that could really kind of, push Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin cycle will 100% change, but it may be fractally tweaked somewhat. It might
right.
It might kind of drag out or push a little bit.
I mean, if we have a black swan event, we have something really terrible happen to the financial system on a macro level. There's a lot of underlying.
I believe they want to put in a CBDC, and I think what they're going to do is create some type of horrible event. And they're going to say the banks are shut down. We got hacked. They're going to create a site. This is what I believe will happen. And I could be wrong, but lately, some of the craziest thoughts I've had have come true now, even though 2 years ago, everything I said.
I want to pull your screen back up, but we're going to just kind of focus on us during this little rabbit hole part.
I believe that they're going to create a cyber incident, like, they're talking about, right? The WF and all that. And then when they do that, the banks are going to shut down. You're not going to answer an ATM. It's going to be a national thing. And they're going to say, don't worry, everyone. We've been working on a CBDC. You're going to get 1-to-1 of what was ever in your bank account. Like everything's going to be fine. It's going to take a few days, yada, yada, yada. I know it sounds insane. People probably think I'm nuts, and they'll
people watch my channel don't think you're nuts, but
people can move this to a digital dollar. And see, the reason why is because whenever 7 years ago, when I said Bitcoin is going to become 20 grand, that was an insane thing to say, but I saw it and really truly believed it, and it happened. And so they're going to do something to push in a CBDC at one point, I believe. And then at that point, I think you're going to see the strength of Bitcoin. Like you're going to realize enough countries and enough people are going to choose Bitcoin. And I think institutions are going to choose Bitcoin. I think people that buy gold are going to have to buy Bitcoin.
We'll start separating from the correlation from the stock markets and a traditional TradFi shit and all that, because we're very much correlated.
It's going to have to get tokenized in the stock markets. And I've heard now 5 years from now, they plan on making the stock market 24/7. They can't compete with crypto, right? Look, the short squeeze is continuing.
Yeah. So, another subject for another day. You had this guy, you may be familiar, Reggie Middleton. He had a project called Veritasium, but
Veritasium.
So that project, and since like 2011, he was talking about peer-to-peer capital markets, which is basically tokenized securities and stocks and tokenizing everything. I even heard something recently from an interview on Stansberry Research about someone who's, I think, is the president of the World Gold Council, talking about leaving gold in vaults and fractionalizing it. They're using blockchain technology to track the bars, like where they're coming from, where they're going, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I have awesome people that like they'll pay for a one-on-one. I'll tutor them for like a half an hour to an hour. And then there'll be more, like one guy, he was like a pastor, and he's like, Sam, he's like, don't you realize like we're never going to have to get a mortgage? And I'm like, what? He goes, dude, you keep stacking that Bitcoin. Eventually you're going to have a program where you can just put in that address and they're going to know your wealth. You're going to be able to get a loan off of it. You're going to be able to monetize loans. And
just like you would with gold now, if you have gold in a vault, you can take out, or silver, anything like that, you could take out loans against your precious metals.
So Bitcoin is freaking plowing right now.
What is this chart you're looking at? Because this looks so crazy with all these bubbles.
Awesome, right? All right. So I was doing my predictions every day, and this company was watching me. And next thing I got an email, and they were like, they do, they said, we think your predictions are great. We want a long-term, he literally said, you're one of the most accurate Bitcoin traders I've ever seen. Like when you claim it's going a certain way, you do pretty well. And he said, we want to work with you. We want a long-term relationship. And so this is Bookmap. And what it's doing is it's just, what I like about it is If you go to their site, it says see what's behind the candles, and they
What
show
is
you
the site
candles,
again?
bookmap.com. Right?
Bookmap.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bruce, Josh, whole team. I met the owner, Sachi, who programmed it. I know him by face, first name basis. Really nice guy. We've had a few sit downs. So it's not amazing. It is amazing, but what it's doing is for me, it's doing a few things. It's showing me where whales, you can't tell if it's whales or not, but the more you watch it, you can feel it out. So it's a heat map. So I talk about it like an infrared goggle, right? So if you see a lot of people, they'd be dark red. So picture, instead of people, those are orders. So if there's more orders, you're going to be really dark red. And the darker the red, the more likely Bitcoin's going to go and fill an order. So right now, look at the orders getting redder and redder. And what happens is a big guy will put a huge order. Like right here, I can see that this person wants to sell 921 Bitcoins at $24,000. I can see this guy wants to buy 210 Bitcoins at $23,000 or 710 Bitcoins, right? And the market likes to fill the most orders. So like if I had $2,000 Bitcoins here and only 600 here, it would be far more likely that the price comes up and gets, And so if you come to my channel on a regular day, we'll look at the market and we'll be analyzing the market. And what we'll see, I use the 7 minutes specifically with this. And I don't know why it works that way. No one taught me this. It was all from just playing around on my live stream. And then like it happened to us live, But so let me go BTC USD.
Are you good? I mean, I want to make sure I'm being respectful of your time. Are you good on time?
I mean, yeah, I don't have anything until ATB, and all I do is this. So yeah,
okay, I mean, I'm not going to stream us for the next 3 hours, but I wanted to go.
No, we got to go to
charts
like
if you're good.
We got to go to 10 tonight.
I just go on ATB.
No, yeah, I didn't even realize No, but yeah.
I'll be on ATB tomorrow, by the way.
With me, shoulder, head, and shoulder. That was supposed to break to the upside. That's an inverted head and shoulder, right? That had a 68% chance that was going to break out, and it was supposed to go to the measured move. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. I love technical analysis for this reason. Like if I just keep sticking to the basics take care of me. Anytime I start thinking out the box and get creative, like, oh, maybe it's doing no. Inverted head and shoulder, 68% of the time, measured move. Stick to the script. Like, don't put in your own ideas. And look, the 7 minute was low at the time when this started. So I'll look for a low 7 minute stochastic. This is a gem what I'm giving people because and the thing is, if everyone knew this, and also they call me Sammy Cup and Handy. That was technically a cup and handle in there. And this is why they call me Sammy Cup and Handy, because I find cup and handles almost everywhere and I use them. So like that was a cup and handle there inside of an inverted head and shoulder. Like I started realizing that too, like dualities and patterns, and it's insane. But so this had a measured move, which was the wick to the wick, which should have brought us up to there. And then what I looked at, beforehand, you would have seen huge orders above us. And so what happens is the other time frames, sometimes I've seen the 1 hour overbought, the 4 hour, anyone who trades all would say, oh, open up a short immediately. But if you go to the 7 and you see the 7's low and you see a bunch of orders, and on my stream, we watched hundreds of thousands of people, $1 million get liquidated. And like, had they just watched my channel and learned this, they wouldn't be one of these people, like this 163,000, this 183,000. So like my goal is to save these people and get them to understand, like, you don't have to be liquidated. Like, you don't have to be one of these people. Like, we longed you, and we longed this cup and handle, and you got us paid, And so I use Bookmap and the 7 minute a lot to find short squeezes. And it happens to us on my channel like 2 to 3 times a week, it feels like.
Very cool. Very cool.
Look,
and I appreciate you sharing that.
See the cup and handle hit the measured move there? It's just like, it's insane. Like, I tell my mom I draw triangles for a living.
You draw triangles. I love it.
I'm like, look, it's supposed to do this and it does that. I'm like, is that simple, Mom? And she just looks at me and laughs,
Your mom close to you?
Me and my mom are so close. Like, she's not a huge phone person, so we don't have like.
But I mean, in proximity, so she's like, you can drive by and see her and stuff.
She lives on an island, which I have to take a 45-minute boat to get to her. But so she's about a 2.5 hour away, like an hour and a half ride, and then I have to get on a boat. She lives on an island. Yeah, it's like. My mom lives on an island. It's just off the coast of Massachusetts.
I get it though.
Yeah.
So you mentioned halvings earlier. Litecoin has a halving coming up, and
yeah. And honestly, I
think it's going to do some It's been doing some very interesting things. It's a very underrated coin. I'm a big proponent. I spoke at the Litecoin Summit this past year in Vegas. Interviewed Charlie Lee a couple times. Just recently interviewed the lead developer of the MWeb extension, which is the Mimblewimble extension on Litecoin, adding privacy.
Whatever happened with that? Like
It's done. It's just an extension block. It's not on chain, because if they would have done it on chain, it would have more than likely been delisted from exchanges.
Right. Or yeah. Well,
I asked them privately, would it be worth forking Litecoin and having like Mimblewimble on chain and having a private version of Litecoin? He said there would be better coins for something like that. It was pretty interesting, but Litecoin, I feel like with the uncertainty with regulations and knowing that Bitcoin is not a security, I would almost 100% bet pretty much most anything that Litecoin is going to fall in that same category. So, I mean, that's why I think that like Grayscale has, a Litecoin has had Litecoin on their books for quite some time. All the payment applications that are using crypto now, they all have Litecoin. So there's something about Litecoin, and a lot of people, man, when the last bull market was going on, really wanted to shit on Litecoin, but it's the longest existing blockchain that's had zero problems. And I did a video about this, and just to give people a little education, like with Bitcoin, there was an inflation bug where someone was able to mint more than 21 million Bitcoin, and they rolled the blockchain back. So that's not technically really immutable. Now, can you do that today? Probably not. But all the different vulnerabilities and things that happened in Bitcoin in the early days, Litecoin didn't have to experience that, because like Bitcoin had already done it and there was fixes, and Litecoin was a code fork of Bitcoin with just changes and improvements. So just a little education for people. So sorry.
No, that's amazing. Like, I see it in the cup and handle, man. This is the 3L token. So if Litecoin goes up 30%, this will go up 95. It's on KuCoin. So
what is that token?
It's just a 3L. It's an ETF, an electronic fund. Yeah. So like this will go up 3 times the price of Litecoin, right? I mean, they are high risk. They're extremely high risk, because you can lose 3 times. If Litecoin, sneezes 3%, you can lose 10, but or 9. But I was rounding up. But I'm watching this. I mean, I love playing narratives. I'll be honest. I sit here and swing all these lines and do all this analyzation. And like 2 or 3 months ago, there was talks of Elon buying Twitter, and I told everyone, let's start buying Doge, because he's going to buy Twitter, and then he's going to make a thing, and then everyone's going to say, is Doge going to be a payment? And it's like all you had to do was buy Doge around the time, and you would have made some gains. So there was like, Mask and BNB and Doge were also put in this, like Binance put them in this ETF. And so Mask has been pumping with BNB and Doge. So like I figured that out. And then there was some other small coin called Doge Chain, and that would pump like really hard. So like sometimes it's simply like, I know everyone looks at the, technical analysts, but if you just take a step back and look at a narrative, like Chat GPT came out, I found 20 of the hot AI coins. We traded them. I found AGIX. I put out AGIX in my trading group at 4 cents. I really did. I'm not trying to be like, look at me, but I did. I mean, I put it out at 4 cents.
That was the only coin that I ever had any interest in participating in the ICO in 2017, and they wouldn't allow me because of uncertainty. They required only accredited investors in the United States. But I ended up interviewing Ben Gortzel, the main guy behind our Singularity Net.
And look, I put this out on 1/4. That it was going to break out and go up 83%, right? This never hit the stop loss, never went lower than that trend line. And since this day, it ripped all the way to 60 cents, 66 cents from 4 cents, So these are the type of calls that I put on my trading group. I do it every single day. So eventually I'm going to trip on some winners. You know what I mean? I do it all. That's all I do. It's like a guy with a metal detector. If you're at the beach every day and that's all you do, you're going to find the diamond ring. You know what I mean? It's going to happen.
So the Litecoin halving is estimated at the beginning of August, basically, roughly. If you're looking at the charts, do you see upward action between now and August? Because generally with a halving event, you see that take place. And if you kind of look at that in the past.
153 days, right?
Yeah, August 2nd. That's why I was saying beginning of August. And it's estimated because, again, it just depends on how fast each block is.
Well, when I do that, I'm going to be looking at like the 3-day, right? The 2-day chart. Okay. Cause you want to see like how much time and like the 3-day, that last run up. Let's see if I hit shift, you can grab the ruler and then pull it 41 days, right? I mean, you come down, you made a bottom, you pumped up hard, you came down, you made a double bottom, you made this beautiful rounded bottom. Boom, boom, boom. That's accumulation. That's institutional accumulation on anything. That's the, you boomed up, you're retracing now. When you retrace, see, I love stochastics because how I trade is basically you need a constant when trading. To me, everything is scientific. Like I look at trading just like I was in a laboratory, right? And I was running an experiment. Every single trade to me is an experiment. So like look, price action went up, down, up, down. And what did the oscillator do? Went up, down, up, down. So we know the oscillator goes up and down. That's our constant. Now, yeah, it does squiggly lines or whatever, but for the most part, the stochastics is going to go to the dotted to the dotted. That's just going to happen from this dotted to this dotted, from this dotted to this dotted, from this. That's what the stochastics is going to do. So I watch price action and it should mimic it. Whenever price action does not, I see what's going on. So like say this is price action and it starts to go sideways, but the oscillator goes down. That's a flag. And now you're down, but price action sideways, you have a really likelihood of breaking out. So I project flags while I watch stochastics reset. I set alerts on the stochastics in the flag, and that's really my system. Like, it's really awesome. So like here, price action went down both these times when the stochastics went down. Now the stochastics went all the way down a long leg, but look, price didn't go down that much. And that tells me there's buy pressure here, and this is likely to move to the upside. You know what I mean? So this is, to me, very like, I believe Bitcoin. I think let's look at the real Litecoin chart. And I'll just try to give you like
I mean, it'll be a situation where it's one of these buy the rumor, sell the news. So you would, this would be a good time to accumulate.
I believe it's going to pump. I mean, it looks like it can hit $130.
What kind of time frame though are you talking about?
Into that halving, right?
Into the halving.
I mean, now it makes me think because the halving's that far away. So look, I put out this trade. This trade went up. I put out this little flag. It almost hit the target, right, since I last traded it. And I put out this cup and handle, and it's up since I last put it out. 59%, right? And again, the same strategy that I teach on the 3-day chart, you should pump up to the 200 SMA. Anytime moving averages are tight, I don't care what time frame. And see, I never tested this on the 3-day before. So once I learn something on the 1 hour, I start back testing on the daily. Once it solidifies in the daily, I start back testing it on like the 3-day. And that's how I'm able to make really large predictions on the weekly, because it will resemble the same fractal space. And I'll be like, well, that's doing the same thing I've seen on 500 different coins on all these different time frames. So like Litecoin's likely to pump up to this 200 SMA, right?
Okay.
It did it already. I mean, it already did it, but like this is that list that I showed you earlier, and that this is like a skill that I'm basically giving free knowledge right now, and it took me years to figure this out, like years, and look, it went up there and it's probably going to pass it at one point. And again, just like when price action gets above the 200 on the 4 hour and starts to pump, once you get above the 3-day and you start to pump. So what's going to happen here is the halving is going to create a frenzy. I believe you're in a flag right now. So it looks like Litecoin's going to break out of this flag. It's very low on the 3-day chart, which is really good sign. I'm personally going to start putting in like $500 at a time till I have $5,000, and then just swing trade it for $5,000. It probably looks like I can make at least 50 to 60% off this in the next, 3 to 4 months, pretty simply, without having to think too much about it. And maybe even more. Maybe Litecoin gets bigger. This tells me we can get there maybe by June. We can be at 167.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I think the all-time high back in 21 was like a little over 4.
And I think logically and emotionally, that makes no sense to me, because the market's weird. And I'm like, but if I just look at the TA and I don't do anything else, that's what the TA says.
And Litecoin may be, I know that this may not, I don't know if it even makes any sense, but because of the halving, it may not perform the same as all the other cryptocurrencies.
Totally.
I know that Bitcoin kind of brings the market up and down, but we've seen like during the last bear market that we had a couple years ago, we've seen Chainlink doing some crazy things that other tokens weren't doing at all. So
Flux had a halving like 2 months ago, and it did that same little pump, sell the news type of thing, and like everyone else was kind of sideways, and Flux just is on this massive run up. And it's like, anytime you add human emotions and you add scarcity, right, there's going to be enough of those people that think, hey, I should get in on this before it's harder to get, or I should use this. Me and you were talking about it for a reason, right? So we're going to add speculation, which is going to add volume, So, yeah, I mean, I like what's happening with I love these types of plays, these narratives, right? Because those are the gems you get in being in crypto for years. Every once in a while you get some, oh yeah, the Litecoin halving is probably going to pump the price of Litecoin up. Like if the Litecoin doesn't go up, me and you are going to be a little like we're going to be kind of surprised. We're going to be like, it never pumped on that halving. That's a little strange,
I mean, but again, I think it could be dependent on, what happens on like the whole macroeconomic spectrum too. Cause I mean, we're in just really uncertain areas. We could be at the beginning of World War III.
See, I'm so crazy. I don't care about any of that stuff. Like I say,
if you're really gonna be a good trader, you don't want to. You just want to pay attention because I mean, I know that many good traders say, "Show me the chart and I'll tell you the news."
Yeah, I say it every day. I say it every day on my channel, and it happens all the time. Like,
I've had Gareth Soloway on numerous times. Same situation. Any good trader says that.
Yeah, I mean you get taught it. If you spend enough time in the trade, you're gonna see the chart and then you're gonna hear the news. You're gonna see the chart and you're gonna hear the news. You're gonna see the chart and it's gonna happen to the point where you just don't listen to the news anymore.
And do you ever cover gold and silver on your channel? Since I mean,
I used to look at the price of gold. The first thing I woke up for 10 years, I traded gold and silver. Hey, that's one thing I didn't answer. So I began trading when I'm 23 years old, right? By 25, I had an account. By 26, 27, I was trading gold. By 30 years old, I was trading on the Toronto Stock Exchange, and I was trading, Hecla Mining, all these weird mining companies. I was looking, I was researching mining and speculating. When a mining company bought another company, that means they could pull more gold out of the ground, right? So they're probably going to have a better quarter, and I would bet on that idea. And I would play, this is how I understood how to trade the 3L tokens. I started trading JNUG and JDST, now they're 2X shares, but when I traded them, they were 3X. They were by Direxion Daily Junior Gold Miners. And so when Bitcoin pumps, when gold pumps, JNUG pumps. And again, it was 3-1. So when gold went up 3%, I'd get, and I found I was able to pull between 3 and 8% almost every day, trading this back and forth, depending. When gold looked bearish, I'd trade J Dust, like the dust of gold, right? I guess that's the idea, right? A nugget or dust. So if gold was going to, and then what I liked about it is I didn't have to short the market and I didn't have to open up a short account. I could just trade bullishly spot on both of these. So basically I would trade this bullishly if gold was going to tank and gold would dump, I would make my percentage that way on JDST. And then the other day, once gold tanked, I knew the next day was probably going to be a win the other way, right? So I was just like, if I had already shorted it the night before, and I got really good at that. And I studied. And so that's how I became how I became traded. But I didn't use stochastics at the time. I didn't use VRVP. There was things I didn't know. The crypto industry taught me a lot. But I did that for like 7 years. And then I got in, and then I got really lucky. I got into I got into this stock called Great Panther Limited, GPL. I always remember GPL. It was like, and I put like $2,500 in and turned it to 8,700. And then I put like $6,000 into Kaneki Grow Corp at $1.78 Canadian. And it would go to like $50 American. And yeah, I didn't ride it all the way up, but I would pay it. And then the second I had like, $40,000, $50,000 in my bank account that I never had, I found what Bitcoin is. And Bitcoin's sitting at $1,000 to $1,500. So like, did I get lucky? Was I prepared? How did it all happen? I don't know, honestly. Like, just like, and I look back and I can't even believe where I'm at now. Like, I cannot believe it. So I tell everyone, like, you're going to accomplish your dreams. I'm telling you, you're not going to know exactly how.
Well, you have to be focused and you have to be proactive. You can't just, think your dream's going to fall in your lap necessarily either, because you put the work in to kind of get the things to fall into place.
So you have to work your complete butt off. I look at everything like this. I built a walkway outside my house. I never built a walkway in my, but it was, I moved into an older house. It had an asphalt walkway in front. It looked horrible. I didn't want my kids to trip on it. It just was bad. So I broke it with a sledgehammer. And then I had a dirt hole in front of my house. So I had to actually start building a walkway, and I got the bricks, I pounded, I got all the stuff. But at one point you have to do 1/4 inch a fall per 1/4 inch per foot. So if you have a 4-inch fall, it can only fall 4 inch. It could only fall a whole inch from beginning to end. And I had to like figure out pitch, and I had all these little lines. And at one point I almost gave up because I thought it was over my mental. Like I thought I couldn't figure it out and I was going to make a horrible mistake. And I almost hired a guy, and I tried to get this guy to come out, and he was there with me, and he gave me some pointers. He started sticking sticks in the ground and, you know, drawing these little wires. I had no idea what he was doing. He left, and it's, you know, if anyone's ever done this for you, it's like they teach you without telling you what they did, hoping that your subconscious mind will like tell you later on. It's like this guy was like a soothsayer, you know what I mean? Like he knew what he was doing, but I didn't know it. But a week later, I was like, oh my God, like he was showing me how to do it without even charging me. Like he was a blessing, this guy. And I finished the walkway. Long story is, I look at everything in my life, because when we start a YouTube channel, when you start a business, you can't see it, right? So people, because it's not tangible, people have a hard time trying to figure out how they're going to go from A to B, right? But I tell everyone, look at everything like a physical thing. Like say you wanted to build a one room shack outside your, a 1 room cabin, right? On your property. Let's say you had extra property, and you'd have to put a stone every morning. You have to wake up. You'd have to dig the hole. You'd have to put a stone. That thing's not going to get built if you don't go outside and put a stone down. Like you can't think of it. You can't dream of it. You can't like, oh, I want to do that. Like it's like you have to put action behind everything in life, or you're not going to get anywhere. Like you to build the house, you have to place the stones. Like, you know, what I mean? No, it's like, for me, I say this to myself because I lived in dreamland for so long that like I was trying to think my way into things. And at one point I was like, Sam, you just got to do, like, you got to stop being so afraid of failure and just make it happen. You know, I was a filmmaker for years, and you write the script, and what if it doesn't come out right? What if the actor doesn't show up? Just go out and see who shows up. Just get the script done. You'll learn something. You just got to go. Like at one point, you got to stop thinking, and you got to just go, you know? Yeah.
The reason I was asking you about gold was because I just did a video not too long ago about,
let me look at gold for you. Sorry.
Banks are accumulating. No, that's cool. I appreciate the story. Banks are like accumulating the hell out of gold, even nations.
We went over that.
And now China for the like, not the first time, but are being semi-public about what they're doing, where they've been very secretive in the past. So something is interesting going on. I know that gold and silver are highly manipulated, because when you were talking about trading gold, for people that don't know, it's not like you're dealing with the actual coins and the actual metals themselves. It's just like a derivative. It's a digital representation. And so it's really easy for companies like JP Morgan, especially, who've been found guilty of this and paid fines for manipulating markets
for years.
Yeah, keeping the price throttled. I mean, because I don't think silver has hit its all-time high since.
Can I put you on the spot? How do they do that? I feel like you know more than me about, like, I can't fully explain. Like, I'm like, oh, they're throttling, but how are they throttling it? Like, what are they doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've always thought, like,
I don't know all the tricks, because that's not my area of specialty. Yeah. But being that they control the contracts, it's kind of like, how do these exchanges do manipulations? Because like we just saw a bunch of shorts get liquidated. So it's a matter of, for whatever reason, I think it's a highly coordinated thing with our Federal Reserve, because they talk about the Federal Reserve having trading desks. So you have Federal Reserve, you have all these AI bots, you have BlackRock's Aladdin, and then you have the institutions themselves doing everything they can to keep a certain wall, to manipulate the price, to keep the price down. Because I think the all-time high for silver has been somewhere around $50.
$50. Yeah.
And that was back in the 80s.
I'm a silver stacker, man.
And with as much money as we've printed, you would think that it would go up in value. And because a rising gold price is an indicator of a failure in a fiat currency.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm bringing up the gold stuff, because I think we're at the point of the real big point of failure. I know we've been at the point of failure, but I think it's like we're at the end of this fiat system, and that's why they're trying to usher in the CBDC so quickly, so they can get a better handle on things in addition to more control.
Yeah. Look what this guy said. I love what he said, because that's what I believe. Crypto Tucker 420. He said, it makes sense. Charts are made up of human emotions and patterns of that over time. The energy of the universe and all that humans is going. The energy of the universe and all the humans is going to front run the news or black swan events, the charts. It's interesting, you know, like that's
like the Crypto Tucker. I wonder if that's a play on Mr. Carlson.
So gold, falling wedge, right? If I take away the inverted head and shoulder that I drew there, we bounce to the 6 point. We're in the golden pocket. It's like from this impulse to that, we're now in the golden pocket. Like, and then we bounce right off the golden pocket. It's like I was showing some guy this today, my buddy, and I was showing him like, can you believe how you always bounce off this 618 between the 0.65 and the 0.618 golden pocket? I mean, gold looks interesting to me. Like it may have found a bit of a bottom here. Its measured move is pretty big too. I had a cup and handle for gold.
A lot of people are calling for gold to break out its all-time highs and stay above the 2K price and find support somewhere above 2.
This is the biggest cup and handle I ever drew in my life, right? And it's like, I mean, that's a cup and handle for gold, and it's
almost perfect. Yeah,
it started in 2011, so like imagine like a cup and handle that took like 10 years to make, like it's gonna go to 3,600, $3,000 in a coin, you know?
That'd be crazy.
I own like 40 ounces or something. I wish I owned more, but you know, I got a stash of gold. Like
I'm a big proponent of gold and silver. I mean, there's times that I would go on ATB around a blockchain and mention that and get so much shit from people. But I mean, as I'm a huge proponent of both. I think it's important for both, and it's sad to see the disconnect of crypto people with gold and silver, particularly because they're more monetary based. And then it's sad to see what you would call a gold bug or silver bug be anti Bitcoin and crypto. It doesn't make sense.
When Peter Schiff starts his weird, I'm like, Peter Schiff got me into Bitcoin. Like I'll tweet him all the time. I'm like, Peter, you're the reason.
Peter's funny with that.
You're the reason I bought Bitcoin. I mean, he knows, right? He's
doing reverse psychology. I think
he's doing something.
He's playing his role.
He's 5 years ago, he bought a bunch of gold. He still got to sell today. You know what I mean? Like,
did you see what happened? I think it was, his bank, because it was Puerto Rico based.
Shut him down. I saw that whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where a lot of Bitcoiners and crypto people came in and said, well, that wouldn't happen if it was Bitcoin.
It was pretty weird, though, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
well, his father, man.
About it again.
His father is fucking OG.
He died on his deathbed, a handcuff to the hospital bed, and never paying the government a dime. Like, it's like, I researched. I mean, he was my gateway to all this. For 2 years, it was Peter Schiff, man. That was it, and I was a gold bug. So, like, I mean, a lot of us have come through the same tunnel, right? Like, in a way. That's why I think we share so much in common, even if we may not have known each other that much. We actually like came through the same rabbit holes. And
you mentioned Mike Maloney. I meant to say it earlier. If people haven't checked out the Gold Silver channel, and then I encourage you to do so and go to the playlist section and look for the hidden secrets of money. There's
gotta watch it.
10 videos in a series. It's there may be more coming. It's kind of been like an ongoing thing for several years, and it really gives a really good history of money, the difference between money and currency. And then towards the end, he even talks about some crypto stuff. Towards the end, I think it's a 9 and 10, talks about comparisons of the United States and Rome and the fall of Rome and how it's comparing to what's looking like the fall of the United States.
His video about Bitcoin mining and the Byzantine fault tolerance and how we had to figure out the problem. And like, I mean, that's when his videos were the ones that, like, and anyone can't understand Bitcoin. I play those videos for them, and it makes Bitcoin mining visually understandable for anybody. He spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on that series. I'm telling you right now. He traveled, he spent money on graphics. And a friend of mine was with him in Puerto Rico like 6 months ago, and he's like building some big thing out there. He's living out, he lives out there.
Yeah. Good tax haven.
Yeah. But I mean, the hidden secrets of money will change your life. I used to play it on my live stream a lot, like just a 7-minute thing of how they circumvent our money with the fraction reserve lending. And I mean,
that's why I have this thing very handy. Let me pull it up real quick, because this is a quote from Henry Ford, and it's a lot of people may or may not be familiar with it, but it was a really smart thing that Henry Ford had said. And it is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Remember that? Yeah, because they're stealing from you behind your back. Like he said, give me, what's another one? Henry Kissinger or something. He says, give me not a tank or a weapon. Like, just give me the stroke of a pen. Like, you know what I mean?
That's why they say
let me control the monetary system, and I can
pen is mightier than a sword.
Yeah. It's like,
well, the last thing I was if you don't mind, since we looked at gold, do you mind looking at silver?
No, why not? AG, right?
And then we can wrap this up. And I definitely want to do this, more frequently. Maybe we can schedule something on a regular and Let me look on my schedule so I can remind people or let people know when I'll be on your show. So
It's
you
not that long,
schedule.
isn't it? In like a couple weeks?
I think it's in a couple weeks.
So it's funny.
22nd, it looks like 22nd of March, Wednesday. Do you book that far ahead?
Yeah, we're booked till the halfway through April right now.
Congrats.
Yeah, my
I
team
was
did it
booking
too.
like that, man, but now that I'm well, and I may be changing that soon because I am going to be doing some traveling, but I kind of chilled out on traveling. So I try to stay like a week, 2 weeks max,
But it's
unless
not like
it's somebody
I've
really
been
important.
I have a great travel setup if you ever wanna, like I'll break down what I do, and so wherever I go, I'm in it to win it, man. Wherever I go, I bring this back like a luggage bag, and it has, like, my laptop, an extra light, a mic stand,
No,
and
I saw your streams from Miami.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
I
Oh, yeah,
think we were on an episode of ATB while you
yeah,
were
we
in
were. Yeah,
Miami.
yeah, yeah. It's funny. I was next to Ben in Sexy Fish, right? And like, I was a little, and I'd never seen all these new people, Crypto Wendy, Tom Crown, everyone's in there. And I'm like, oh, I'm finally in the community. I'm meeting everybody. And I was like, I wanted to be there, And next thing you know, I looked at my clock and I was like 4:45. And Ben was next to me. I go, oh, shit. And Ben looks, he goes, what? I go, I'm going to miss ATB, and I ran out and jumped in a cab. And it was the first time I actually thought I might miss the show. And I was like, I never want to miss a show, man. You know what I mean? Like I never wanted to ever call out. Like I never called out once. Like I always
I would say use a cell service or yeah, but Miami's not a good place to rely on cell phone service.
So silver, look, it's following suit. It's in a cup and handle. Look at that. It's in a cup and handle inside of like, symmetrical triangle. It's kind of bullpennant vibes. It's a little more sleeky. The weekly's extremely low, telling you that this is a great place to load up on silver and that it could likely get to a high of $61 an ounce somewhere by May of 2027.
May of 27?
Yeah.
2027.
2020, May of 2027, 4 years from now, $60 an ounce. Yeah.
Which would be finally over its all-time high.
At 49,877 or something.
And it seems like silver's, it seems to be held down a lot more.
So it goes to look at this. It goes to an all-time high in December of 1979. And then it never makes it back there again until April of 2011. That's so weird, right? Like it's just like, and that's a giant cup and handle.
So that's why a lot of precious metals people say that silver is just undervalued. And
they say it's going to be the greatest asset but I'm like, I think I'm going to make more money buying like one of these little Web3, like AGIX. You know what I mean? Like when everyone's telling us like, get into silver now. I'm like, come on, man. It's like the time to stack silver was at $12, $13. Like it's over now. But
what I try to explain it is gold and silver, again, monetary metals in particular, are what I call present tense for preserving what you have. And then cryptocurrency would be your future tense to expand upon what you have. But if you keep your money in dollars, the way the system is, you're going to be losing purchasing power. So if you were to keep that money, your savings or your wealth inside of something like precious metals, you're going to maintain, it's going to maintain its value.
Yeah, exactly. 10 years from now, you're going to own more than you had in the game. Yeah, exactly. So
well, even if you didn't own more, if you just own the same, you're better off. You're still better off than most other people. If you're able to keep
your value will be worth more. Yeah. You don't have to own more. Yeah. No, 100%. I always go back to that idea. Like, give me $100 in 1910 and $100 worth of gold. Like you probably could have got a nice meal and a nice suit for $100, and now
now it was cheap.
A nice suit's like $1,000. Like, so the gold will still get you that $100 worth of gold you have will probably still get you. It's like an ounce might have been $20 or something. So you have
That's what it was. That's so $20 an ounce. So back in we can use 1925 as an example because it was still around the $20 price. You could buy a nice suit for $20 with a $20 bill or an ounce of gold. Today, you can still buy a nice suit with an ounce of gold.
Right?
But what can you buy with $20? You might be able to buy
the socks and the pocket square. You can buy the tie. You can buy
you might go to the Salvation Army,
tie, like a TJ Maxx tie, like
Salvation Army, and get you like a 70s suit.
You might be able to go to Salvation Army. And
yeah, some old suit from the 70s or 80s, some big fat tie. Yeah, big thick collars. So yeah, it's just
and that's when they have the it doesn't look like that. I love that scene when they come out with the freaking he's got the mustard tuxedo.
Yeah. That's a great movie.
I love that, man. I do.
Since we were mentioning Bitcoin around a blockchain a couple times, did you see? Was it this past Halloween that him and TJ dressed up as the two guys from Dumb and Dumber?
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. It's so funny.
That's what I think Ben was doing his butt modeling.
Oh yeah.
Well, dude, man, I thoroughly enjoyed this, man.
Me too, man. Me too. Thank you.
We'll have to talk offline and figure out, when we can coordinate to get you back on. And obviously, I think I said Wednesday the 22nd, but we'll promote it. I'll definitely be sharing it on my socials when I'm coming on your channel. So
thanks, man.
Let me pull up your website, your Twitter, and your YouTube channel, which I have all linked down below in the video description, so people can go check it out.
Thank you.
Before we wrap things up, man, do you have anything that you want to add? Anything that you want to share with what you're doing with your website and your channels?
No, I mean, we got cryptolifer.com. One thing I just want to talk about is a lot of people don't have a lot of money, and I get that. I remember when I started in debt, and so I offer a class for $99. It's 2 hours. Think of all the times you spent $99. I'm telling you right now, and you can ask people before. You can come to my stream and just put it in the super chat, and then I'll ask in the chat. Everyone that I get 70% of the people that take that class give me so much good feedback and say, maybe almost all of them, but not everyone says anything. And they give me amazing feedback that it clicked. Even traders that have been trading for 4 or 5 years said, you connected 2 dots for me that finally made me see things clearer, or I got this. And I get so much feedback from it. I get a lot of joy out of it. So yeah, I have a trading group. If you want to jump on in at cryptolifer.com, you can learn all about it. But I also have the class that I teach. And that's a great way to get to know me, a great way to understand my concepts and what you're going to learn. And yeah, so the class every Tuesday from 3 to 5:30, that's the one thing that I really like, because it's like the most inexpensive way I've seen online to get yourself going. Like a lot of the other channels, a lot of the other guys, you have to spend a little more. This is $60 to $100. Get yourself going, get yourself situated, learn TradingView, and begin your journey, And if you don't have any money at all, come to my stream live every day.
Are you actually streaming on Theta still?
We didn't get to stream on Theta. We were supposed to, but we didn't do it. We got our key and everything, and I have a team. I have 5 employees, and we had to let someone go recently in December, and they were working on a lot of things. You know what I mean? So we kind of had to replace somebody, and they had passwords and things that we had to find out. And so it kind of slowed us down on a few things. But yeah, we have a podcast coming out. We had a podcast running for a year, but it came down when he lost the password. So we got a podcast. We got everything we can do. And we're, another thing that I'm doing is we're starting to do content video. My latest video, we really put a lot of time and effort into. It's about AI. And, we did the teleprompter. We wrote the script. We had we have an in-house editor that does a really, really good job. And this video right here, price discovery, episode 1, artificial intelligence. Our next episode is going to be liquid staking, and we're going to try to do this. So we do an interview every Wednesday night. I live stream every day from 10 a.m. to 12. I do Saturday and Sunday nights. I do the weekly candle close at 8 p.m. I do the monthly candle close at the end of every month. And then you're also going to see, and then we also rip content from the live and make other videos out of that too.
Taking clips from your streams.
Yeah. And so we want to take over the internet, man, and we're studying the people that are doing it, and it's hard work. You need a lot of people. You can't do it alone. But
yeah, no, I'm in the process of trying to put together a team myself. Just not having enough to really be able to pay people for their time. It really sucks. So I'm looking at different ways of trying to bring in different streams of income so that I can do this a little bit more properly.
Yeah.
Well, I was also going to tell you, man, I was going to ask you off air, but since you fucking pulled the shit up, I want to ask you now, who's doing the thumbnails?
I got a personal assistant, and I had a guy come to me, said, I want to do the thumbnails. He did them to me for a year. And then I got a personal assistant in the Philippines. They're pretty inexpensive, if you look it up and you find out. And he would just basically do anything I needed, And then one day I was like, I need you to learn thumbnails. I need these. And I was like, I'm going to give you a month. And once you're good, I'm going to get rid of my other guy. You know what I mean? And he basically sent a thumbnail every day for 2 weeks straight. And once I knew because it's a big deal to me. Making my thumbnails is a big deal. Because I used to have a guy who would sometimes be late. I need that thumbnail by 9 in the morning. You know what I mean? I need it. I come up with the concept. So every morning he sends me a thing. What's the idea? And I'm and I look at the charts And I think of the emotion, and I think of like how to get people to think about it, what would make them kind of scared, just a little bit of a play on their emotions and
it's part of the game.
what I'm actually talking about. You know what I mean? Like today,
Well, they look good, and I saw some similarities in Miss Teen Cryptos, and I didn't know if there was maybe if it was the same person or just some people just kind of sharing similar art ideas.
I know he uses like some type of like template system, and then like we were also using journal, or what was that? We were using some AI stuff too, man. Like this one, which one was he did when he made me look like a Superman? Like,
I can kind of tell when some AI stuff has been done to like images. Yeah,
this one right here, like that one was done. Like they just he's also like, it's about the creativity of the person. Like I'm like, make me look like a bull, or sometimes I come up with that idea, but mainly like as he gets better and better, like I was like red wave, and he made like a wave of red, and he put me in a scuba gear. I have fun with it. Like I love what he's gonna come up with. Like to me, I want to kind of make these into NFTs and turn them into like $1,000 NFT set of all the different episodes.
That's a cool idea.
I thought that
I thought they were very catchy, so I thought I would comment and then ask you, because I'm trying. I mean, I've been trying to improve my game.
Even Ben said something to me. Ben was like, "Dude, your thumbnails are awesome." I was like, "Yo, like," so Sean, man, you're the man, dude. Everybody loves your thumbnails. You're famous for them now, Sean.
Sweet. Yeah, congratulations, man. Well, awesome, man. Well, again, man, I enjoyed having this conversation. Hope everybody else did. And for any of the lifers that are watching that aren't subscribed to my channel, I definitely encourage them to subscribe. And if you're new to my content, definitely explore my channel. Done some crazy interviews, lots of crazy videos. I got playlist section. And I will be on Crypto Lifers channel in a few weeks, and he'll be back on mine soon. So anything else you want to add, or are you good?
No, man. All I want to say is thank you so much for caring about my life and spotlighting what I do.
Yeah, man, it's all good.
That's a blessing. Thank you.
I mean, I consider us to be a part of a community. It's just,
I agree.
This was kind of long overdue.
It was.
But things happen when they're supposed to happen. That's one thing too that I've also been having to be taught in my life over the past couple of years is I might want things to happen the way I want them to happen, but they happen the way they're supposed to happen. And that's what I was trying to tell people earlier too. If you came here just for the TA, you're at the wrong channel. I mean, I do like to talk about price action, but there's so much more to this. And then I like to get to know people. And then the next time you come on, we can just kind of get right into it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like they know me, I know you. Yeah. And thank you, man. That's all I got to say is thank you. Yeah. Gratitude is the attitude for abundance.
Thank you, my friend. So if you can bear with me real quick, I'm just going to do the wrap up and talk to you for 1 second after we're done. So again, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate everybody for being in a live chat. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that as well. I don't have the name of the individual right this moment, but thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Wifer is my wife.
Was it your wife who gave me the super chat?
She's the best, yo.
Now I got to pull it up. Oh, yes, it was your wife. Wow. Thank you so much, wifer. I appreciate that. I didn't even realize it was your wife, man. That's so sweet.
She's the best, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, yeah, make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed. And if you like the rabbit hole content, check out my other channel, Rice Against the Grain. Links will be down below for everything that we talked about on today's show. And I always like to leave people with a little bit of positivity. And here it is. I encourage everyone to be a blessing to others. Treat people how you want to be treated. Be the glitch you want to see in the matrix. Be the change you want to see in the world. And until next time, practice change.